Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the next episode of the BRUHther podcast. I'm your host Dylan. We're back to talk again. Week 2 of Big Brother Canada 4. It was quite the entertaining week and interesting week. I'm your host, as I said, and my co-host is also here.
Hi, Frankie. Welcome. I'm happy to be back. It was an interesting week, but what's more interesting to me is the fact that we still haven't come up with a better name for our show.
That's true. I mean, once we eventually come with a better name, we'll just retroactively go back and change the titles of all these. But for now it's fine. It works. But so I'm gonna be completely honest. I kind of forgot to take notes this week, but Frankie was more responsible than I am, and he took notes, so he's gonna be bringing up topics this week. So I'm gonna shift over the hosting duties to him now.
Alrighty, so we start episode 1 of week number 2, and the first thing we see is Nikki and Tim enter the house for the first time, which is super exciting. Um,
Hmm.
the thing that stood out to me the most about their first entrance was the fact that the house seemed almost split. Like half the people went up and greeted them, and half the people just like stayed below, and we're just like, "Oh, hello, I guess you're in the game too now."
Oh
Like
yeah.
we saw Christine like pout on the couch. She didn't
Mhm.
like the fact they were coming in.
And then Tim just like called her out.
Yeah, it was
That was
great.
hilarious. What I
Um,
can say so far is just from watching like a bit of feeds and then watching the show, I absolutely adore watching Tim and Nikki.
yeah,
I can definitely see why they were like beloved in the UK and Australia and stuff. I was like, oh okay, I definitely get it now. And I think John Party put out a tweet that was like that moment when the best when the best Big Brother Canada house guest is not Canadian.
yeah,
And I'm just really like happy that they're there because it makes it so much more interesting. Because they actually also kind of know how to play the game. Everyone else is like recruits for the most part, and they don't actually understand it,
hmm
and which makes it entertaining TV. But it's like you guys are making mistakes that were made in like Big Brother 3.
yeah. We'll get to a lot of those mistakes a little bit later in the show. Um, but there's the one thing that the main thing I noticed from their entrance, and we'll probably see as a theme until one of the wild cards are picked, is that Tim and Nikki are like perfect foils. First,
Oh
basically,
yeah,
like Tim, like the first thing he does is he starts making people laugh, and like he starts getting along, and Nikki just starts crying.
yeah,
It's like, oh, Nikki. Um, yeah, so they had a whole little moment where she's like in the house and talking about it. She's overwhelmed. Like the girls try to comfort her, and then you have just Tim like downstairs already making new friends. It's like,
oh
well,
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I was really impressed by Tim's social game this week because I remember like I watched a bit and then a lot of people on the Big Brother subreddit were saying that like everyone was just like spilling their games to him.
yeah. There's a little bit of a quick segment of that in the show when like he's just sitting
That's
with like
right.
Jared's side of the house, and there's like, oh yeah, so we're gonna put up Sherry and Levita, so we don't like them, and here's our reasons. And Tim's like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, so two people get nominated. It's like this guy. Like, why are they telling him everything? I don't know, but
I don't know, man. Uh,
so
what
I
was the
think
next?
the next thing that happened was the HOH comp.
Okay, and then Kelsey like dominated for the first half, and I remember I was like, when I watch Big Brother, I watch it like on one monitor, I have it playing with it on my other monitor. I'm on the chat, and I'm on mainly the subreddit more than I actually am like actively watching the show.
Hmm
So I miss Kelsey going out. I was like, wait, like what happened? To rewinded twice, and I'm like, oh, she got a question wrong. I think that
Yeah.
was how she got out.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that was an interesting competition. It's always, I mean, I'm a fan for drama reasons when they have those comps that they have to pick who to eliminate.
hmm
But for people like Mitch, I think Mitch just like got the question wrong, right?
I
At
believe
the
so.
end.
Believe so. I personally think he threw it. I don't know if we had a DR
Yeah,
saying that, but
that's what he said in the DR. I'm pretty sure
okay.
he said that he got to final three and he it was obviously I forget who it was, but it was like very obvious who it was, and he just like picked. Oh, it was that one, like, it was the one asking about who did the worst in the HOH comp.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And
Now,
then
yeah.
and then Mitch just like picked someone that finished like in the middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh what? And then DR is like, it was obviously Cassandra. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. The other thing I noticed was the final two was Jared versus Joel, and Joel did nothing but stand there the entire time.
Hmm.
He just like didn't do anything, and he got in a DR, and he's like, "Well, I'm here, I guess." He got to the final two.
Which that's actually like a really good sign for his game because no one wanted to eliminate him.
Yeah,
They all felt comfortable with Joel HOH. It's like, and probably not as good, but in like BB15 they had that segment where everyone was happy that Andy won HOH.
mm-hmm.
That's what
Yeah.
that reminded me of.
So in the end, Jared wins. You know, it's good for his side of the house, not good for the most of the viewers.
Yeah.
They're already a polarizing side of the house. But yeah, so the next after that, the next thing we see is that the Big Brother gave the house guests alcohol, which was supposed to lead to a very interesting night, which was overall disappointing in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. I remember when they gave them alcohol on the feeds, we texted each other immediately. We were like, they got alcohol, and we got so excited. And it was like, oh, they're just sitting around at a table for like 3 hours.
yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of boring. I'll just keep moving on. The next thing we saw was Jared's HOH room, and everyone was crying over his letter besides for Tim, which was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Global didn't show his reaction,
Yeah.
which was sad because it was like hilarious because I saw like the GIF and he's just like, what's going on? But they made like super heartfelt or whatever
Yeah.
in the show, and it was like, no, show Tim just like being very confused and like and slightly horrified, and it's a lot funnier.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a good moment. I thought it was a good moment overall. You know, the DR letters always get to me. So I'm sorry, the HOH letters always get to me. So
Mm-hmm.
the next major thing, probably the first major thing that really happened besides for the competition, was a conversation between Love and Sherry that they tried to have with Kelsey to try to
Oh, that's right.
mend some problems they had, and it went so poorly.
Yeah, I read that like it went on for like 40 minutes
It's
and it
so
only
long.
ended just because Kelsey was like, okay, fine. I feel comfortable now after being forced to sit here for 40 minutes and talk to you guys.
Yeah, it was just like the video just kept saying the same thing over and over again. Just like, I want to play an honest game. I want to be honest with you. Honest, 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 honest. And Kelsey's like, you weren't honest. Like, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although to Levita's credit, she kind of was honest because she straight up told Kelsey that she wanted her gone, which is like Big Brother 101 never to do.
Yeah, I don't
The
know,
only
man.
times it's ever worked out is like BB Can 3. It worked out for Godfrey when he said that he wanted Zach gone, and then
Pouring
like
blood on
and
B's
like BB,
hands.
yeah, and then BB16, Zach said he wanted Devin gone, and that was a deciding factor for him staying. But that was because he said like, but those are people on the block and like a last ditch effort, just throwing a Hail Mary, hoping to stay in the house. This is the HOH who should be holding all the power that week, who just putting her situation much worse than it had any right to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, this is a moment it was important to me because it was like, okay, maybe her HOH-itis got to her a bit, and then it was like, oh wait, but she's just terrible all around. She can't even talk to
Yeah.
people. Alrighty. So this is where we get into the scene where Jared's side tells Tim their entire games for whatever reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess we already touched on that. So
Mhm.
after that, we just got a little bit more of Tim and Nikki being weird, and then we got our first real Jared and Kelsey kind of moment. And it was actually kind of touching. I kind of liked it. It was, I don't know.
I honestly have no recollection of that happening. I remember the one last night, or I guess I
Okay.
watched episode last night, so Thursday night that happened, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
I don't remember one Sunday.
There's
But I
like
don't know. I've always liked watching showmances. Uh, like I don't mind them a lot. Like a lot of them, I enjoy following outside the house. So Jared and Kelsey do become a showman. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But it seems like Kelsey's been a lot more flirty with like a lot of other guys than just Jared,
yeah, it's true.
which is interesting. Like she's obviously the most into Jared, but she's not just like 100% committed, which I think they uh, touched upon in the eviction episode.
Yeah, well, yeah, they talked about it in episode 3, so we'll get to that too. So the next big thing that happened was we had a reward challenge. I thought this was a great challenge. That was the paint drawing one
Oh
on the
yeah,
wheel. I thought this was a great competition.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, it was. That was the one where where Joel like threw the paint and it hit the one girl like right in the crotch, and it was like,
Yeah,
oh, come on, Joel.
I think he had love in the middle, right in, yeah, yeah. That was a great competition. We saw a gold team, which consisted of Dallas Ramsey, Raul, Phil, and Mitch, just destroy everyone. They were so good compared to everyone else. It was funny
Oh
to
yeah,
see.
that's right. And then like
Um,
second place was like I think was it Cassandra that was like keeping their team in it.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like Joel's like I'm to carry this team, and he like didn't like do anything.
Yeah. So in
So
the end, our oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. So it came down to the final throw. It was going to be between Tim's team and Cassandra's team, and Tim pulls it out with one final throw, becomes the hero of the day, which was so great, so perfect. And
yeah,
then because of that, the have-nots for the week are Joel, Sherry, Cass, and Love, which stinks because 2 of them are getting nominated.
yeah.
But you know, alrighty. So any other thoughts on that or?
Oh no, I mean for the competitions, unless something like crazy happens, it's more just like oh that was fun to watch. Like last week, we had Blossom the Fecas, which was very noteworthy.
Very noteworthy, yeah. Alrighty, after the competition, we had it was a quick segment that I actually really enjoyed. It was they put some snow in the hot tub room, and they had a little bit of a snowball fight. I thought that was kind of fun, just like Tim, the Australian, freaking out about snow.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
was
that
fun.
was good.
Yeah, that was a good segment. Another segment showing him bonding with all the housemates really easily. And then we have the hat not room, and it's a doozy.
It is so bad.
It's a terrible, terrible room.
I mean, I probably would still think that like the bug one
I
is
was just
worse,
like, yeah.
but it's like kind of close to that. Because honestly, you walk in, you're just like, there's not even beds.
Yeah, that's it right there, right? It's like BB-17 U.S. It was like, oh, they get chairs to sleep in. They're like not comfortable chairs, but they are chairs, like
Hmm.
dentist chairs. This time it was like, no, you get a bench, a really
Yeah,
small bench. It was like a 4-foot bench.
yeah. Well, I do remember reading on Reddit that Big Brother does allow them to sleep on the floor, which is
Yeah,
nice.
which doesn't happen in BB U.S. So
Yeah. Although it happened in a 14, they were allowed to sleep on the floor.
what's that the
That
bug one?
was the one where the entire have not room was like steel, and the
Oh,
middle part was like that circle. So they would
okay.
generally have like two people cuddle in the middle and then two people on the outside.
Okay.
Because that was also the infamous story happened because of that from Brittany Haynes with Joe, because the have-nots were Brittany, Danielle, Joe, and Shane, and Brittany heard some acoustics come from Joe's mouth. If you haven't watched the video, go check it out on YouTube. It's absolutely hilarious, and it's also kind of pretty disgusting.
I don't remember any of this.
Bro, basically Brittany woke up to to Joe masturbating in the same room, but she couldn't tell whether it was Joe or Shane. And then once he finished, he made like a sound with his mouth, and because of the acoustics, she was able to like echolocate where it came from, and then she realized it was Joe, and she was horrified.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, alrighty. Moving on.
It happened.
So this next thing that happened was probably the moment a lot of people started like at least for me really started enjoying watching Nikki in the house when she started doing a story about the haunted house on Niagara.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this? She's
I
talking with
actually don't.
she's talking with Phil and Joel at the table, and she's like talking about how great Canada is and she wants to move to Canada. And she's like, I heard of this house, this haunted house, and like we had this family in there, and one night they got up and left. And then Phil's like, they got up and left. That's the story. That's the
Oh
haunted
yeah,
part.
that's right.
And he's like, and then she's like, yeah, and they lived happily ever after. Ooh, it's great. Um, alrighty. So next thing we see is Shari trying to make amends with Jared. This is the first instance I've seen any kind of good gameplay from her side of the house.
That's
Um,
true.
she goes and talks to Jared, tries to tries to distinguish herself from Levita without totally selling her out, saying like, I'm my own player, I'm not just her sidekick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it didn't work out, but it was still a good. It was a good idea, and I'm glad she did it.
Mm-hmm. Can we quickly talk about how just unfair it was for Sherry to be nominated by association? Because she
I'm
kept what?
pretty sure you're being sarcastic, right? Because
Yes,
it's not
yes,
at
I
all.
am. No,
Okay.
she kept complaining the whole week, like, I'm up by association. This is so unfair. It's like, you need to nominate two people.
Yeah,
Just
Russo said
critically
it best.
think.
Yeah, Vanessa Russo last season said it really best. Like, you need the one reason. If you don't have a reason, you make your own reason. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they go up on the block. That's what she did every week. Vanessa was in power.
Reason.
She just freaked out on somebody, and that was the reason to nominate them.
Those were some great nights on the feeds last
Yeah.
year when Vanessa needed a reason. We were like, damn, here we go. Something's gonna go down in the next 12.
Are you telling this to my face? Are you silly right now? Yeah.
Wasn't it Jeff that just like basically did nothing and then Vanessa blew up at him and got him evicted?
Yep, it was great. So then we see Love come around to Jared and reminds him of their week one deal, which was Livia gets HOH and Jared stays safe, and how she honored that. So she thinks they built some trust there, and he should like continue to work with that trust. Once again, this is not a bad idea. This is what I would expect to see. But the bad part, in my opinion, is when she then offers him 5 weeks of safety, votes of all of her alliance members, all in favor of him for 5 weeks. You have to be a complete idiot to think anybody would ever honor 5 weeks. Things change day by day, like in the Big Brother has. 5 weeks? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if there was ever probably gonna be a player that would have fallen for it, it may have been Levita, but she offered it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, part of me is like, well, I mean, the whole cast as recruits, they might be like, oh, we have to be super honorable, and Jared like said that he wants to play an honest and honorable game, so maybe he would trust her on like a small percentage chance. I felt like he might as well do it, but don't make it that ridiculous of a deal. Make it like a 2-week deal, and then Jared might be like, okay.
Yeah, 1 week, 2 weeks, no more. Like, yeah. So after that, we find their efforts were in vain, and Levita and Sherry are nominated as expected by everyone. And that's the end of episode 1. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. Probably one of the better. I mean, it's only episode 4, but it's probably my favorite out of the 4 so far. Or that maybe episode 3. I don't remember. But at least at that point, it's probably my favorite of the season because 1, we got the wild cards. 2, we had a good challenge, and 3, we had enough time to explain some of the things of the reasonings for why he nominated Levita and Sherry. So
yeah, it was a nice it was a refreshing change of pace from that week 1, which was nothing but just like as if we were watching the end of season recap for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But with how it was like edited and put together.
Yep. Alrighty, episode 2. So it starts off, of course, picking up from the end of the nomination ceremony, and immediately Levita falls apart.
Yeah.
um, so she goes into one of the rooms and just starts bawling. Um, and then she says some great sound bites, like one, if I were to win, I would take Shari off the block. Not quite sure of her reasoning at all, whatsoever, but I guess she feels bad in the fact that she's the reason that Shari got nominated. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
honestly, that is like that might be a fine thing to say because you have a 1 in 6 shot of winning the veto. So like it makes you appear as if you're really dumb at the game. But I think this was just an example of Levita being really dumb at Big Brother and not being good at it. But I don't know. I mean, and I would never say that if I was in the house like Frankie. If we were in the house and we were on the block, I'm sorry, man, but you're gonna go home.
I'm going home. I'm going veto. Get out of here, son.
No. What's gonna happen is that production's gonna love us so much the duo's twist is gonna come back for a week.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so she's crying, and Mitch comforts her, of course, Mitch being the guy who gets no screen time except for when he's doing something good so far.
Yeah.
And here we get into some actual gameplay, which was exciting for me to see, because we see Dallas get called out. He was one of the people that voted for Kelsey to leave the house last week, and was lying about it in the 2 or 3 days afterwards, saying that they were able to account for all the people who voted against Kelsey except for one, and he was prancing around the house saying that whoever the snake is gonna get found and get caught. He's the snake.
Yeah, I mean, like once again, in theory, that makes sense. Like you wouldn't expect the person that's so like hung up on it to the person behind it. But I mean, from what I've seen, Dallas is really annoying and like no one likes him and people want him to go home. Like he farted in a container and like had someone smell it. What kind of social game is that?
You know, just trying to make some friends. I don't know.
Like this is him. He only binge watched PB-17 and saw that James won America's favorite. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna win Canada's favorite. So he like wants to pull pranks on people, but for him, and he doesn't wait until everyone's comfortable and likes him.
Well, it's also like the power of persuasion. Like Tim, just asked him to do it, and he said, he's like, "Hey, you want to fart in the jar?" And Dell's like, "That sounds like a great idea. That's a great idea, Tim. You and I are gonna get along real well." Yeah. Alrighty, so he gets called out. Eventually reveals that he's been lying. So, and then we had a good conversation, I thought, between Jared and Raul. And this is a point we haven't really seen in the show until this point, that Raul is like really aligned with Jared and Kelsey. This is the first time we really see it, and they have a good conversation where they kind of both show that they have a good grasp of the house dynamic right now. They started talking about how the house is basically Jared, Kelsey, Raul versus Dallas, Maddie, Sherry, Olivia, and Ramsey, and then a bunch of people in the middle. Which I don't know. I just thought it was good. It was good that they had an idea of the house.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's also helpful for the show only viewers because then they get the like quick rundown of where everyone stands.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, yeah, that was a good conversation, and then we move on to a conversation between Love and Sherry in the Have Not room with Joel. Really talking where Joel gives them some good advice about how to like stay calm and how to like fight and for themselves without like selling each other out. And they both talk about how they like Joel, even though they're not really like aligned with him. They just enjoy his presence and enjoy talking to him.
That's very good to see for Joel's game, because the biggest worry for everyone was that he'd be Steve and Ian 2.0 and be extremely awkward socially the first few weeks and potentially the whole game, depending on who you ask for them as players. But and he also had the handicap of he was going to be a decade older than them, so he wouldn't be able to play the like, oh, he's a young cute like younger brother that I've never had card, but he's fit it in really well. It's probably like his maturity that from being older is like he's able to adapt socially.
Yeah, if we'll get into a little bit later, but if we gave out like you know, the equivalent of a fishy on this show,
Yeah,
you know, he would get it for this week for sure.
nah,
Um,
love.
but no, I don't think. And so then now we get into some more games. We go into the segment, which I'm pretty sure we're seeing every episode, which is going to be like the wild card segment, which is Tim,
Yeah.
it's the Tim and Nikki show. They have the house play hide and seek, which was great.
This
It was a great little fun moment.
my favorite moment was when actually I have two moments tied. Was when Nikki completely walked by Philip in the shower and didn't
Yeah.
realize that it was him. And then
Yeah.
also when Nikki walked in and Tim ran behind her. She goes, "You can't move."
That's not the rules. Oh my god, so good. Oh yeah, I especially loved Phil hiding in the shower, and she's like, so she like looks at the person in the shower, she's like, "Hello," and then walks out.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
I am so excited for Tim and or Nikki to experience Marsha the Moose.
Marsha's dead. We've been over this.
No, Marsha appeared in the premiere.
Oh, I didn't.
She's in the Have Not room.
Is she? I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
So one of these days, what's gonna happen is that Tim and Nikki, they're down on their luck. The house is turned against them. Who returns? Twistos returns, and the coup d'état is gonna happen again for the Have Not. We get to vote who the Have Nots are, and then Marsha rises and saves Canada's favorite 2 years in a row. Man, it's gonna happen.
No, I really hope not. You know, I was just thinking, I really hope they have Big Brother Canada All Stars in a couple of years, and maybe bring back Willow just so she can kill Marsha again. Alrighty.
Honestly,
Oh.
I had a thought and then I legit just forgot it. So
Okay, then.
So just move on.
Moving on. So then we just talked about it, but we hit the fart jar gate. That was trying to be funny. It didn't work out
I mean,
so well.
I'll be honest. I smirked, but that's because I have a shitty sense of humor.
No, it was hilarious. I think it was more funny to me because I couldn't believe it was actually happening. Like, yeah, so we get some weird moments with Dallas and Nikki and foot rubs. I don't know, man. Nikki's weird.
Can you explain something? Because you follow the feeds more closely than I do. Apparently, there was a suck my toes controversy because of this.
I had not heard about this.
Okay, as far as I understand it, actually, I'll just be talking out of my butt. But as far as I understand it, it's like, I think Nikki said suck my toes, and then it got really weird.
Okay.
Or it was the way around. I'm not sure. I'll look it up after the show. I'll look up on their subreddit right now, and then we can move on and we'll come back. I just remember, like people were mad that part was cut out of the show.
Okay, I'd not even heard about this at all.
Well, we'll move on.
Alrighty, up next, the veto competition, sponsored by The Brick, brought to you by The Brick. Brick. So yeah, it was an interesting competition. I didn't, you know, basically it was basically a big hide and basically a big like, the first round was interesting. It was more about a game of luck than anything, because we saw like all the house guests like frantically running around trying to find keys, and Christine just like checked like 3 of them, and the third one worked. You know. So it comes down to the wire, but it ends up that Mitch, who doesn't want to win at all, makes it to round 2 with Christine and Love.
Yeah. Christine Christine, as the great Disney Channel classic would say, had her head in the game. And I was watching it, and I'm like, why does Christine want to win this? It's because she's been waiting 16 years to vote to a big page, and she finally got to do it. And now she's like, I'm playing a veto, I want to win. Because, like, isn't it better to play up the role that you're just like you're just the housekeeper that can't win comps?
Right, but she said in the DR right before it that once the host announced it, you get like $5,000 to win. She's like, "Oh, I want that money."
Oh, that's right. Never mind. My bad.
Yeah, so
I
according to
forgot
that,
about
she
that.
probably wouldn't try very hard. So yeah, it's like Christine, Love, and Mitch make it to round two, and we get this great quote from Christine. Probably my favorite quote of the season so far. And I mean, at least from a non-wild card, was that Christine said, "I am the furniture whisperer." I don't know what that means, but I just thought it was great.
I mean, it works. We also had that great close that great. I mean, I missed it, but apparently it happened. There was a quick glance of Sarah Hanlon's book, How to Win Big Brother, and then in the chat for our such Big Brother, I forget what user posted it, but they posted a hyperlink, and the hyperlink said, How to Win Big Brother by Sarah Hanlon. When you click on it, it was a Google image search results for Twistos.
Oh, that's savage. That's great.
And I was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it ends up with Christine barely pulling it out with 5 points, Love with 4, and Mitch with a big goose egg.
Yeah.
And then after Christine wins, she has the opportunity to double her money by picking a random number or like a random
Double
question.
down.
Well, it wasn't double down. Well, I guess it's kind of a double down, but she got it wrong. I don't think she would lose her money though. That'd be
That's
great.
true.
That would have been great. And then she wins $10,000. And I, like some other people, just think that all those cushions said win. Personally.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I was like, are you really gonna like waste time and have this person not win? You obviously like had the money set aside. All those cushions had a win under it. But like, I don't care. There was still some tension for me. I'm like, is Christine gonna double her money? But
right,
it was so anticlimactic. Like all you picked was like, I'm gonna pick 1, 2, or 3. It's like, really? Oh, also, I listened to the Rappy Hour with Kevin Martin and Jordan Parhar on this episode, and they were talking about the host for this veto competition is like some guy from a commercial.
Yeah, I watched the first little bit of that. I didn't get to finish it, but yeah, they talked about this guy's like a D-rate celebrity in Canada. Like he's the voice of the Brick, and like that's it.
Oh no, it's wait. Did you actually find out what his occupation was? Because on the show they were trying to Google it and they couldn't find any information on the dude.
No, I guess I stopped watching at that point.
Okay. Like they're in like Kevin's in Google and he's just like I can't even find this guy.
Well, that's great. So yeah, Christine wins. Then we get another twist, not really a twist, but I guess we'll call it a twist, is that Tim and Nikki are given the power to vote this week, even though they're immune. I don't know. When I first heard about this twist, I heard about and it's like, this isn't going to change anything, right? Like, I don't know. I just had a feeling that wasn't going to change anything. Did you feel similarly or?
At first I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that's like I'd rather them not vote because they weren't eligible to go home this week. But I thought about it, I'm like, it doesn't matter. And then even they didn't want like to pick a side, so they go up to Raul and they're like, oh, so we're pretty much just splitting our vote. And Raul comes up with like a reason that makes absolutely no logical sense when you think about it for longer than 4.5 seconds.
No, like in the moment, well, like when he was saying it, he was like, "Oh yes, but if you vote like that, you have to make somebody else decide, or something like that." And then Tim was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't think about that." It was like, "You didn't think about what? What did he say that made sense?" He didn't. No, like mathematically, if they split their vote, they have no impact on it. Like that's just how it works. That's how math works. Sorry, Raul.
What I think Raul was trying to get at was if you split your vote, it doesn't change anything. So it means that they're not picking a side, and he won them to pick a side. But it's like they don't want to pick a side. They shouldn't have to. They can't go home.
Yeah, that's a dumb reason. I don't like that.
I mean, I mean, I never claimed that Raul was on the same level as Vanessa when it came to coming up with reasons.
Yeah. What? There's my question though. Did Joel vote last week?
Joel?
Yeah, he was immune. I believe he did vote.
Oh yeah. I think so.
I believe he voted, and he was immune last week. So.
That's true. That's actually a really good point. It doesn't make any sense why Nikki and Tim wouldn't have been allowed to vote.
Well, they also like got to skip a week, so it's like they weren't as in the know. So, but like, yeah, I don't see why they don't get a vote because it's not gonna. I didn't think it's gonna affect it either way.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get a conversation between Jared and Kelsey, where they talk about what happens if Christine is to use the veto, and Kelsey says, "Would you put up Maddie?" Then that's like seems like a logical choice. You put up Maddie. He said, "No, I won't put up Maddie." And he's like, "You won't put up Maddie? Why?" And he's like, he's like ridiculously salty about Dallas lying to them, and it looks like our thoughts on the Bro Alliance, at least between those two, are completely gone. There's no chance for a Bro Alliance between those two. So that would
Yeah,
be
that's
really
true.
interesting if Christine did, for whatever reason, use the veto, which I don't know why she would. But if she did, and Dallas is on the block, I don't know. I don't know what we would
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dallas is on the block because everyone else like just didn't stir the pot and behaved, and Dallas like lied and was loud and annoying, and people didn't even like talking to him.
Yeah, but the question for me is, how does he do like in the final vote? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. That'll be
Yeah.
interesting. I feel like in instances like that, Dallas is just Dallas just has too much negative momentum at that point. And the reason it stopped was because he didn't go on the block. If he had gone on the block, I don't think he's a good enough player to be able to reverse that momentum. And I feel like he probably ends up out of the house.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the episode. We get to the video ceremony, and the noms stayed the same as expected. If Christine states changed the noms, I would have been very surprised. Just wasn't any logical reason for her game to really change and make anyone mad.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Guess we're gonna move on to episode 3 then.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so we pick up from the video competition. Then we get another moment very similarly to Joel, the moment between Love, Shar, and Joel. Then we have a moment with Tim, Love, and Shar, where he tells them how to campaign. Is once again how to campaign without going against each other. And it's trying to make
Mm-hmm.
herself more attractive to potential house guests that are voting for you. So that's a little moment. That's the first time we've seen Tim actually do any kind of gameplay. That was noteworthy to me.
Yeah, it's true. It was also, even this time it wasn't even forced for him to give any gameplay advice. He just probably just got extremely bored watching them not campaign and was like, do something. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to play this game. Try to stay in it.
Yeah. So yeah. The next thing we're gonna get to is the thing we mentioned earlier, and this was the Jared and Kelsey showmance moment you said you liked earlier.
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought it was interesting. We had the So did it start off with Kelsey giving Philip a massage?
I believe so.
And it was like, and it got pretty flirty towards the end, and then Kelsey just got up and left, and Philip's like, "No, why are you leaving?" And then she immediately or it was just edited that she immediately went back to Jared, and her and Jared talked, and she talked about how she doesn't want to commit or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's actually interesting.
They cut to her talking to Cassandra and talking about like how she's like questioning her Jonas but the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that she wasn't talking about how like her relationship was going to impact her game very much. She was just afraid of commitment.
Yeah.
It's like I was thinking like, oh, I don't like the fact that I already have a target on my head and it might not be worth it. It was like, no, I'm not really sure I can commit. Like, come on, man.
Although I think part of that and her not just rushing into a showmance. I think it's part of her like her maturity because she's 25. She actually has life experience. She's not like 19 or 20 going on this show.
Yeah, and yeah, she's actually like in the middle like age range. Everyone's so young this season.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Okay, then we get to a conversation between Maddie and Levita, where Levita asks Maddie how she thinks the votes are going to turn out. Um, and Maddie says it's split basically, and that Levita needs to go and start campaigning.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, that was a noteworthy moment because it showed like Levita starting to try. Well, at least we thought we were going to start seeing Levita campaign for herself. We don't get that until a little bit later. But then it cuts to downstairs when Levita is kind of bonding with Phil, Mitch, Joel, and Ramsey, just like around the table. And so I think this was like the first key to the audience that Levita was going to stay. Like she's like I don't know, we've seen so little of Shari in general, and just to see like Levita do good things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was refreshing to see them actually campaign, or at least Levita. Because so many times people are like, "Oh, I refuse to campaign against my best friend." I'm like, "You're playing Big Brother. You should have known that going into the game."
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a good little moment. Next moment, which I think we'll be seeing a lot of in the coming weeks, is Phil getting mad at Nick for getting a little bit too comfortable with Maddie, and Phil is very angry because he thinks he knows it'll probably be very detrimental to his game.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
Considering they're kind of like more on the Jared Kelsey side of the house, so like not only are you socializing with the enemy, you're also like committing yourself to another person.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what I don't think what I don't think Philip understands is that Maddie claims to be part of the 30%. Claims that only 30% of the world is blonde hair and blue-eyed, which is a completely false stat, and is also, if it was true, a very significant portion of the population.
It's almost a third.
Yeah. And I like when she read that, I was just like, what?
It's probably
like,
it's way less, right?
Yeah, it definitely has to be way less than that. But I was just like, oh yeah, that's what happens when you can't fact check in the Big Brother house, apparently.
Yeah,
Big Brother
stats.
Yeah, as for the segment itself, I thought it was actually a pretty good segment. Philip made some good points. I feel of the two players, Philip's the better player.
I agree, which is surprising because I thought it was going to be the opposite. He's my flair pick. I know he's their pick for most entertaining house guest, which hasn't really lived up. I mean, he's like, he's top 5, but like I thought he was going to be a much worse player. I thought he was going to be able to really think like through things thoroughly. But like I got it completely wrong. Nick's the one that isn't thinking.
Yeah, that's because he knows that girls are going to ruin your game.
It's true. Sometimes it's true.
Yeah.
Now we get into a great little segment that I really enjoyed. And Big Brother gave Joel and Cass the task of doing everyone's laundry.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Honestly, one of my favorite parts about Big Brother Canada or no, it's just BBK in general, are these tasks that they give them where both sides of the house are in on it.
Yep.
Like in BB Can 2, they had one where Adele had to convince one of the girls to go on a date with him that night. But all the girls were in on the task to just reject him the whole night. It was so funny.
And they went last season too. I think it was like they had like 4 people trying to get into like the secret vault area, but like you can only do it when nobody was in the area. The 4 of them were just like roaming around the living room for like hours.
Yeah.
That was a great moment too. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one was what was really funny. I thought it was actually touching how Joel felt like so sad when everyone was getting mad at him because he didn't want to like let everyone down and let everyone be so mad at him, and they were all like, we will get rid of all our clothes to make you guys feel better.
Yeah.
Which was good. Although there was part of me that was like, if I was in their position, I probably just would have not done anything.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think like if I was there and I was like, oh, hey, this one thing that can make that house like not mad at you anymore. You just have to do this one thing. It's a big thing, but it's like, well, I mean, it can't be. It's a tough position. At one point, like one hand, I would think like, it's kind of a hard thing to do. On another point, I feel like Big Brother's only let them have one pair of clothes. Like I don't even believe that. Like there's
Yeah,
no way they're gonna let them just have one pair of clothes.
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So they have a great
Well,
moment. Everyone.
haven't they done it before?
I don't have any memory of that.
I'm pretty sure they've done it before where they like had to burn all their clothes that wasn't what they were currently wearing.
I thought they did one where they were just. Oh, maybe. In my head, I have it the other way around. That they only burned what they were wearing. But
Okay.
I don't. That was a while
I
ago.
think it was BB14. Actually, I should I fact check
14.
it.
No, I don't think it happened to BB14.
Right, well, while I'm looking this up, go ahead and keep going.
Yeah, this next part is where Joel deserves the fishy, quote unquote, where he talks about his struggle with Tourette's with Mitch, Phil, Shar, and Cass. Um, which was
Hmm.
just it was a really well edited, really well told segment. And I thought it was great to make Joel even more likable to the audience. It was great to see Joel get even more comfortable with just like talking about personal things.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I honestly really enjoyed the segment. One guy on r/ Big Brother said that Joel's gotten the character development that Steve got over the course of a season,
it's true.
and I was like, oh my god, it actually is true. I think they actually do a really good job when it comes to Joel and making him be sympathetic, but he's actually like a believable real person, not just some like caricature, really awkward nerdy guy. And it's really refreshing to see.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So after this, we cut to the pool where they guys start enjoying their reward for and we have vodka gate, if you will, so that
Yes.
everything has to be called gate. We got an interesting edit of it on the show. It really didn't tell much of the whole story, but and it really seemed kind of pointless in the end that they showed it at all. They didn't show us like how the problem started. Um,
Hmm.
but
Well,
like basically what we saw on the show is that we saw Nikki take like an entire like glass full of vodka, and it was like all of it from what they showed us. It was like it looked like she took like the entire bottle, and then she started like blaming like, oh, but Raul took some earlier. And what actually happened was, yes, Raul and Kelsey dipped into it before like literally anyone else and got like a head start. And then like Nikki took the last bit of it, and then Nikki got all the blame for it.
oh really?
Yeah.
Because I only watched the clip of her freaking out with Tim.
Yeah.
So I thought that Raul actually just like took all the vodka and she was pissed. So when I watched the show and it showed her like with like pouring the glass and then like pouring the water, like fake pouring the water, and then just being like, I did not do this. That was like the worst British accent ever. But with her claim that she didn't do it, I was like, oh my god, it was her, and I was like, what? Everything, uh, everything I understood about Vodka Gate was a lie,
Well,
and
don't get
apparently
me
I
wrong.
was kind of right.
She did take a lot of it, but she didn't take all of it. Like
Yeah.
that's
Also, isn't part of it just because Nikki has a medical condition, so she like can't drink any other alcohol?
Yeah, she's got some weird stuff going on with her teeth and her lips. So she uses she has a straw and everything she drinks, and so it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's some liquids that just like don't meld well with her.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So yeah, then we got to what you're talking about. Nikki goes upstairs and just starts losing it, and we get some of the great better DRs we've seen. Like all four DRs have been great, where she's just like just losing it, losing her mind over strategy and things like that,
Yeah.
and she's safe for the week. um, and then we go to Tim up there, and Tim like went up there, and it looked to be like he was trying to like help her. But what I got from it, he was flaming in the fire more than anything. There are points where he's like looking to the camera and like talking directly to the camera, like, "I hope you guys are enjoying this," while she's flipping out and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's just another like segment that like the wild cards completely took over, and it was just so entertaining for us to watch. And I'm like, I'm so glad these people are in the house.
Yeah,
It make it so much more interesting.
yeah. That was a great little moment. So then we're going to go on. This is like the episode of heart touching moments, I think, because the next one we had a moment of Ramsey and Raul bonding over praying together.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, which was a super interesting segment to me because it showed like these two guys are bonding over like a common thing, and even though they're like completely like up on opposite sides of the house, and it showed like a
Hmm.
little bond thing there. Alliances don't stay together forever, so I could definitely see those two working together in the future, just like off of this alone, and the fact that they usually act around each other. You know.
Yeah. It reminded me of in BB Can 2, Kyle's learned the prayer that Adele would do in the house, and then
Mm-hmm.
at the finale, he like between his eviction and the finale time, he or time between his eviction and the finale, he like learned the prayer, and then he like performed it live for Adele, and it was actually super touching.
Yeah, also me of when Derek kind of did the same with Jocasta, maybe
Hmm.
16. Like he like went to our daily prayer service. I know we all. I'm sure some of us still remember the controversy about that also. But
Yeah, that cost him a perfect game
yeah, well, I mean Donnie
because
cost him a
Jocasta
perfect game.
voted for
Although it was Donnie's
Cody.
fault, but yeah, yeah. So that was a good little. That was a good moment. I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
So back to the gameplay though, and we talk. We get to Jared's side of the house, and they started talking about how they don't know who they're gonna vote for to evict. And so they brought in Joel, Phil, and Mitch to talk. Another moment, it's like maybe the third or fourth time they just like people will just like come or like to Joel and Mitch to tell them like what they want to do.
Yeah, which for Joel and Mitch is like it's like the perfect position to be in.
Yeah,
So, really good gameplay by them once again. I think for the next like 4 weeks we'll be like Joel and Mitch are playing great games because no one thinks that they're a threat, and
yeah,
then I'll be like Ramsey's on and then I'll be like Ramsey's still in the house. Yay!
yeah.
I wonder
It's
pick.
yeah, it's great to see floaters that are like June song floaters and not Rachel Riley floaters.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
but I really enjoy seeing that, especially like I always hear the rhetoric, and I've always said to people when talking about Big Brother, like go to sleep for 4 weeks. Go to sleep for 4 weeks. Let people tell you things, and that's all you need to do. 4 weeks, then you start playing the game.
The only time you should not do that is when you're on the block because
Yeah,
Paige went to sleep for the first week and got evicted because no one cared about her.
that's true. But yeah, but like, if you're just like, you don't need to take sides necessarily. You don't need to make any kind of
Yeah.
great moves as long as you're not in trouble. If you're cruising, yeah. So then
Agreed.
we finally start seeing actual campaigning like 35 minutes into the episode. Maybe only 30. And we see Levita starting the campaign against Shar, and she says things like Shar is close to the other side of the house, which isn't true at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just not true. She tells us to Maddie. I don't know why necessarily.
No, she said it was because she wanted to stir the pot.
Maddie told Shar to say that, but I'm not sure why Levita told Maddie in the first
Oh,
place.
never mind. Yeah. I mean, it was just a campaign, and it
Yeah,
worked because she stayed.
it's true. So yeah, Maddie immediately goes and tells Shar that this information, which is good TV, bad gameplay. I don't know why you're like it's you're immediately like showing everyone if Maddie gets like caught for this, you're showing everyone week two that you can't be trusted.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bad move by Maddie, but like you said, it was good TV. And what got me by the segment was Sherry was like so offended that so that someone was like trying to campaign against her. It's like you're playing Big Brother. If you're gonna go home honorably, congrats, you didn't win.
Yeah, congrats, you won't be remembered and you won't win.
Hmm.
Yeah, you get recruits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we cut to what will be the eviction ceremony, and we of course we get some another twist from Arissa, which talks about the BB complaint cupboard.
I'm so excited about this.
It's it's been great. so far.
They
I think it's really interesting. It's like it's I don't know. I think it's just a great idea overall.
they legit probably only made this because they knew Nikki would be complaining so much that
Yep.
they were like, let's just put it in there, and Nikki can complain as much as she wants.
Yeah.
I'm like, sounds good to me, like, because that stuff is so entertaining to watch.
Yeah. So then we're going to get to the actual eviction, and every single person voted to evict Shari except for Nikki, who, and that was the only reason she did that was because her and Tim decided to split the vote to have no impact.
Oh,
So yeah, well, I mean, I predicted Sherry was going to go home a week ago, so good on me, I guess.
yeah. I think we both did, didn't we? Or
Yeah, if you
or
asked
did I
me,
pick Levita?
now if you asked me who I thought, and I said Shari, and I think you agreed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we were able to predict the obvious.
It's,
I feel like it's kind of unfair if we try to predict it this week because we like already know who noms are,
yeah,
right?
but we're still like there's still veto, and
That's true.
yeah,
But
so
yeah, Sherry went home. I'm not gonna miss her at all. I'm happy Levita stayed because Levita's just better television because of how bad she is.
yeah, and Arissa really thanked Shari too in the post interview because
Which
she was like, oh, so I see you wanted to play an honorable game and not like campaign against your friend. Have you watched Big Brother before? It's a great little zing
that's
moment
funny.
there. Yeah, and then we quickly get into the first HOH competition on a Thursday show we've seen in over a season, I think.
Yeah, that was so refreshing to see. It's like we're gonna actually have more strategy time on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's the classic roll a ball, get a number competition. Seen this a million times on the US version. And
Yeah.
Levita started from the bottom. Now she here again. Wins HOH.
Is she gonna be the Aaron of this season? Where she just
in terms of just
miraculously
winning
doesn't get
everyone,
evicted week she can't win HOH, and then she wins HOH every week she's eligible.
potentially. Yeah, I can see that happening. Let's hope she doesn't become as hated as Aaron, though.
That's true.
Yeah, so Levita wins, and that's how the end of the episode ends, and that's how the week ends. So I thought it was a good week. I thought it was a really entertaining week overall.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of stuff I think they missed overall in terms of like the reasoning why they evicted Shari, but like it wasn't even that really. It wasn't that interesting or that pivotal. It's just like they just had to show that Levita was getting along with other people to really build the narrative that Shari wasn't, I guess.
Hmm.
But first week with the wild cards, which I will argue is might be the greatest twist in North American Big Brother history. So
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's so much fun watching them play, and also like I think one reason I adore this season is just because I love Australian, British, and Canadian accents, and now I have all three in the same show.
yeah,
It's like, oh my god, these are so much more fun to listen to than the American version. Even though, like I said, even though I prefer the American game over Canadian game because there's less twists generally.
mm-hmm.
The Canada game I think is definitely more bingeable just because they always put in all this random like 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 stuff just for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, I agree. All the tasks we were talking about earlier, all that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the end of the week. I guess we'll have a short spoiler section
Yeah,
for.
which I'm actually not even caught up on the spoilers because I because like
There's a whole lot to be caught up on. So.
okay, like I just like have checked Twitter a bit and I see people like freaking out and they're just like I have no idea what's going on right now. I'm like, oh sweet. Okay, but if you don't want to listen to spoilers, thank you for listening and or watching. Subscribe on YouTube. Like the video, give us a thumbs up, all that jazz. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Dylan Mickanen, DYLAN MICKANEN. I tweet about movies, Big Brother, and basketball generally. And Frankie?
You can follow me at Frankie _Redfern. and I talk about literally anything on my mind. So, and usually not even that often. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so you can follow us there to talk about Big Brother. We'll be tweeting our thoughts once when like big events happen and stuff. So
yeah, and once finals week is over,
yeah,
yeah,
only a few more days.
only a few more days.
Okay, so then we'll like give people like 5 more seconds to leave if they haven't yeah, don't want to watch spoilers. Because when I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was a spoiler for The Departed, which is like over a decade old, so it's kind of my fault. But the guy said spoiler, and then said that who's someone like who died, and I was across the room. I was in the process of sprinting to my computer to mute it because I did not want to get spoiled.
You could have gone like this, you know, like
Well, I mean, hindsight.
it's like the one moment on a podcast we both listened to where one of the hosts spoils movie Fury, and then like 10 seconds later, it's like, oh yeah, spoiler alert for what I just said. It's like, wait a minute,
Yep.
you can't do
Yep.
that.
Okay, but speaking of spoilers, since I'm talking the Big Brother Canada spoilers, so Levita won HOH, and what's happened since?
So nominations happened, I believe, last night. I think at least last night, and Cassandra and Christine are nominated for eviction. Um, our reasoning, honestly, I haven't been able to watch any of the feeds recently because it is Dead Week and Finals Week, and I've been focusing on that. But from what I can tell, is the fact that she's starting to realize her mistake the first time around, and is just trying to like nominate people who are just seen as like non-threats, so that they aren't angry at her. That's my understanding so far.
Okay, I mean, I haven't been watching the feeds either, so I can't really like have like too good of a grasp on the social and the dynamics of the house right now. But it seems to me like she just nominated 2 people that weren't going after her.
That's true. Also,
it feels like Jared just put you up. You have the easiest excuse in the book to be Jared put me up last week. Who's his closest ally? Kelsey put her up. This seemed like the easiest HOH week you could have possibly been given.
I don't disagree with you at all. It seems laid out. It makes sense. But we're talking about Levita here.
That's true.
The one other thing I've been seeing. Oh, sorry. You're right.
I was gonna say. I'm glad that Nikki and Tim aren't up.
Yeah, me too. So the one main thing I've seen so far is that they're already talking a lot about replacement noms, and Dallas is pushing hard to replace whoever gets taken off. If someone gets taken off, to put their brothers up, and it's making people really annoyed at him because he's talking about it so much that people are now talking about replacing the nomination with Dallas instead.
That would be amazing. I would love that so much.
Yeah,
I am hoping that happens.
Yeah, this is like if Joel gets the fishy for this week, like what is Dallas get? Like what's the opposite of a fishy? Like I don't know.
I have no. He gets an eviction because he'll be going home. Because the place that works that week generally goes home.
I meant for week 2. Like he went for like on week 1 he was really high on both of our radars. Like he was like, oh, he's a guy who's like introducing all the house guests with like saying hi to them first, is walking the house. Second week he's just.
I think that's more just because we didn't have the feeds.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because now we have the feeds, and now we see everyone hates Dallas.
Yeah, poor Dallas. But he did to himself, so.
Yeah. He was able to have that one cuddle sesh with all those girls, so it was all worth it for him.
It's all worth it. And his girlfriend broke up with him.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, do I don't have anything more to add for the spoiler section. Do you?
No, like I said, I haven't been able to keep up very much. So.
Okay. Well. Yeah. Well, we will be back next week to talk about Big Brother Canada for week 3. Thank you all for watching. Like the video again, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Dylan McKinnon. Frankie, you're at
Frankie_Redfern.
Okay, and that'll be about it. We'll be back next week. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.
Bye bye.